Jodie Foster's name carries an almost intellectual gravity, a sense of discipline and depth that feels earned rather than manufactured. Born Alicia Christian Foster in Los Angeles in 1962, she entered the world already surrounded by expectation. Raised by her mother, Brandy Foster, after her father left before her birth, Jodie grew up in a household where independence was not encouraged. It was necessary. Money was tight, routines were strict, and excellence was expected. Even as a small child, she stood out for her intelligence and focus, traits that shaped her future long before she could understand their cost. Childhood for Jodie did not unfold gently. Instead, it moved quickly, driven by responsibility, observation, and an early understanding that her abilities carried weight. From the beginning, her life was less about becoming someone and more about sustaining what she already was. An unusual childhood, marked by brilliance. Jodie's early development bordered on astonishing. She spoke in full sentences before most children formed words and read fluently while others learned the alphabet. Her mother recognized this sharp intellect and structured her upbringing around discipline, education, and self-reliance. Yet brilliance often isolates, and Jodie's intelligence set her apart from peers long before fame did. At 3 years old, she appeared in her first commercial, opening the door to a career that rapidly overtook ordinary childhood experiences. While other children played freely, Jodie learned lines, followed direction, and absorbed adult expectations. Film sets replaced playgrounds, and professionalism replaced play. Though her success provided financial stability for her family, it also required emotional maturity far beyond her age. She learned early how to listen more than speak, to observe more than participate, and to carry responsibility quietly. Early fame and the weight of professionalism. By the time Jodie entered elementary school, she was already a working professional. Commercials, television roles, and film appearances filled her schedule, leaving little room for spontaneity. Industry adults praised her reliability, often remarking on how easy she was to work with, a compliment that masked the reality of a child adapting to adult rhythms. Jodie understood expectations instinctively: arrive prepared, perform without complaint, and never waste time. While this discipline shaped her future success, it also demanded emotional restraint. Mistakes felt costly and rest felt earned rather than natural. She rarely questioned authority, not out of fear, but because she had learned responsibility was non-negotiable. Her childhood became an exercise in endurance, and though she excelled, she paid for that excellence with a sense of distance from the carefree world her peers inhabited. Growing up under the camera's gaze, as Jodie moved into more complex roles, the contrast between her age and her responsibilities became starker. She was asked to portray characters far older, navigating emotions and situations she had not yet lived. While productions often provided safeguards, the emotional burden of these performances was real. Jodie learned to compartmentalize, to separate herself from roles once the camera stopped. That skill became a survival mechanism. She also became acutely aware of how others perceived her, developing a guardedness that would later define her private life. Praise came easily, but understanding rarely did. She was admired for her maturity, yet that same maturity prevented people from seeing her vulnerability. Growing up under constant observation taught her restraint, patience, and emotional control, qualities that would become strengths, but ones formed in response to pressure rather than choice. Education as refuge and rebellion. For Jodie, education was never secondary to acting. It was a lifeline. Attending Yale University allowed her to step briefly outside the identity the world had assigned her. Immersed in literature and theory, she found intellectual freedom and anonymity rare in her public life. Studying Toni Morrison, critical thought, and narrative complexity gave her language for emotion she had long internalized. College was not easy. Public attention followed her, and the pressure to remain composed never disappeared. Still, she persisted, graduating with honors and proving to herself that her worth extended beyond performance. Education gave her control over her own narrative and reinforced the belief that her mind mattered as much as her talent. In an industry that often reduces people to image, Yale reminded Jodie she was whole, rebuilding a career on her own terms. After university, Jodie faced an unexpected professional lull. Former child stars often struggled to redefine themselves, and she was no exception. Scripts slowed, opportunities narrowed, and doubt crept in. Instead of retreating, she chose projects that demanded honesty rather than glamour. Her performance in The Accused marked a turning point, not because it revived her fame, but because it reflected her emotional intelligence. She approached roles methodically, researching deeply and refusing shortcuts. This commitment earned her respect not only as an actress but as a serious craftsperson. Later roles reinforced that reputation, allowing her to portray strength without spectacle and vulnerability without excess. Jodie rebuilt her career deliberately, proving longevity comes not from constant visibility, but from integrity and discernment, a life guarded from the public eye. Despite her visibility, Jodie Foster has always drawn firm boundaries around her private life. She understood early that privacy is not secrecy, it is protection. As a mother, she was determined to give her children the normalcy she never had. She shielded them from cameras, chose schools carefully, and maintained routines grounded in stability rather than celebrity. Love for Jodie was quiet and intentional. Relationships were not performances, but partnerships built on trust and mutual respect. She valued consistency over spectacle, preferring evenings at home to red carpets. This guardedness was not fear-based, it was deliberate. She understood that not every truth needs an audience, and that preserving personal space was essential to emotional health. Living authentically, without apology. When Jodie eventually spoke publicly about her personal life, she did so with calm assurance rather than declaration. Her approach reflected who she had always been, measured, thoughtful, and uninterested in drama. Authenticity for her never meant exposure. It meant alignment. Building a life with her wife, Alexandra Hedison, brought a sense of ease and openness that contrasted sharply with earlier years of restraint. Their partnership is rooted in creativity, mutual support, and shared values. Together, they have created a home defined by warmth, art, and conversation rather than attention. For Jodie, this chapter represents not reinvention, but arrival, a moment where life and self finally move in the same direction. Loss, memory, and emotional endurance loss has shaped Jodie Foster quietly but deeply. The passing of her parents marked the end of foundational chapters in her life. Her mother in particular had been both anchor and architect, guiding her through fame with unwavering resolve. Grief did not arrive dramatically, it settled slowly, reshaping routines and memories. Jodie approached loss as she approaches everything else, with reflection rather than resistance. She allowed grief to exist without defining her, honoring love without being consumed by absence. These experiences deepened her empathy, informing her later work and personal choices. Loss did not harden her, it softened her perspective, reinforcing the importance of presence, patience, and gratitude. A legacy defined by quiet strength. Today, Jodie Foster's legacy extends far beyond awards or iconic performances. She represents what longevity looks like when guided by intention rather than ambition. Selective in her work, grounded in her values, and unwavering in her boundaries, she has modeled a life where success does not eclipse selfhood. Her influence is subtle but enduring, seen in her advocacy, mentorship, and consistent support for meaningful causes. She has never chased relevance, yet remains deeply respected. Jodie Foster's story reminds us that resilience does not always roar. Sometimes it speaks softly, chooses carefully, loves deeply, and endures with grace. Her greatest achievement is not fame, but a life lived with clarity, courage, and quiet dignity.